Hey everyone! Today I want to look at a game, but this won't be quite a full review just yet. I imagine this one's still really early access in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, today we're going to take a look at Going Medieval, a Rimworld based game in most ways, but with beefed up graphics, and it also supports Z levels. Starting at the top, I've mentioned the programmatic problem with Z levels in previous videos. You can choose to do them as a programmer, but they cost a lot in terms of background resources. Each level basically doubles the size of the original game world. And obviously if you have active things moving up and around on multiple levels, it can get messy. While this may be the reason you didn't see something like this in Rimworld, or it might have been a strategic design choice, we may really never know. But regardless, Going Medieval seems to be pulling it off, for now. If you played Rimworld to make the comparison, you've already seen the other major resource drain, full 3D support. We're not just seeing flat sprite textures here. We're working with 3D models. Where you would have otherwise been forced to use your imagination, this game helps fill in those blanks. You can spin the camera around, change viewing angles, and see things with a much clearer perspective. As some of you already know, I'm a huge fan of the story building, customization, and replayability of Rimworld. If this game can eventually duplicate that, while adding these visual bonuses and further expanding on building, combat, and other things along the way, that would be amazing. In its current state, it's playable and it's fairly stable, but it's far from including everything. It looks like animal handling was just recently added, for example. That said, the systems that are here work exactly like you'd expect. I was surprised to see there's even a few quality of life inclusions that were inspired by some popular mods from the Rim as well. I play a ton of early access titles and revisit them as big updates come down the pipe, so this is one I'm going to be keeping a close eye on for sure. As I do a lot of Let's Be Frank reviews, you'll often hear me root for the devs, hoping that their games do well in the market. In this case, I feel a little bit more selfish. I'd really love to have that same feeling of story development and randomness in this environment for myself. I loved making my rimshot stories, and with even more events available, it's possible this game might eventually hit that mark. As it stands, there do seem to be a limited number of story events, wanderers, raids, and crop blight to name a few. And as a side note here, I also just want to add that crop blight was duplicated here, but really this is a terrible idea from the jump. Nobody's out here thinking crop blight is adding to the experience, and it's like the worst thing to try and fix. Hopefully someone figures out a way to do it that's fun. Challenge-wise, food seemed to be really plentiful in my experience. Honestly, things felt a little easier here than what I expected from Rimworld. Getting myself established was painless, though I found myself quickly regretting some of my early building decisions. It's not as easy a process to build simple structures because roofing isn't automated here. You can add sloped roofs or add floor to roofing instead. This really starts to expand on the roofing support system that you might already expect, but it makes things like columns and support beams become much more valuable now. Navigating the Z-level system is simple in concept, but it's not really the easiest thing to control or understand at times. And I found myself getting a little lost when trying to mine or deconstruct things at a specific Z level, or I had some difficulty getting wall items to attach to the wall, things like that. For some reason, Z navigation doesn't really feel easy or intuitive to me just yet, and it's somewhat reminiscent of when you have like a 2-story house in The Sims, and the game workflow just gets a little bit more annoying to deal with. It's worth putting up with though, because the idea of making things like wine cellars or dungeons or whatever you want can really make mining and clever building a little bit more valuable in this game. You have a lot more options to build funnels and traps within this system, as well as put your archers into elevated positions for things like attack bonuses. Where Rimworld expanded your base further and further outward over time as you grew, Going Medieval gives you the option of building up or down. This makes your base more defendable with less colonists. Instead of a futuristic and eventual sci-fi focus, the research paths keep you expanding on different options, but sticking around within the medieval era, from what I can see as well. You might be able to tell why I'd have a harder time judging it fully right now. To fully include everything it likely aims to, there's a lot more steps on this journey. What we have today is a great demonstration of progress towards what I consider to be a pretty lofty goal. This is one of those ideas where if someone said to me they were going to make a 3D Rimworld, I might have dismissed the idea because of the resource challenges. Even in a 2D environment with a flat map, marathon games can quickly become resource intensive. And I'm not going to claim that this game is light on system usage. In fact, this game is going to put your system to work in all likelihood. But I didn't experience any lag challenges or graphic issues really at all. I did have a single crash to the desktop, but it had just autosaved, so I didn't really lose anything. I still haven't really put enough time in to judge the long game, but I'm excited at what I've been able to play so far. Value-wise, this isn't something I recommend everyone just jump on right now, since there's still an unfinished feel to it. But there do seem to be sales from time to time, so it might be something to wishlist if you want to grab it later. There's a long list of patch notes, but there's also some periods of inactivity in there as well. So I'd expect maybe a longer development time, but that's to be expected with games like this anyway. Just look at Dwarf Fortress as a great example of development time in this genre. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this something you're planning on hopping into as well? As for me, I'm going to go build a few more castles, and I'll keep you posted. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.